And we're back with you now on WZBN News. This is Mercer County Close Up. At 8:46 a.m. on September 11th, 2001, an American Airlines jet loaded with 92 people crashed into the North Tower of the former World Trade Center. 17 minutes later, with millions of people watching around the world, United Airlines Flight 175 made the very same impact, only into the other building. And over the course of the next hour and a half, not only were thousands of American and even a few foreign lives lost, but America as a whole was thrust into a scary new era, which many people today even say has not yet, expired, given the economy and given the state of overseas fighting. Well, going back to that harrowing day on 9/11, the World Trade Center, though it collapsed, it is being rebuilt, and despite the tragedy, the new World Trade Center is coming right along. And of course, recently I'm sure you watched longtime Senator, former Senator Bill Baroni as our guest. Well, he, having spent a couple of years now with the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, is at the forefront of the project of building the new one. He's our returning guest today to talk about this. Bill, welcome back to the show. Well, tell me about, the World Trade Center site. I mean, I've been to the memorial. You see the new construction as it's taking place. They don't want you to take pictures of it, whomever that is. But tell me about how progress is moving along.
Well, the World Trade Center site is 16 acres.
Right.
At the heart of that site is the 8-acre National 9/11 Memorial, which you've seen, and about 1.5 million people have come to visit now. It's open 7 days a week. This is the memorial that we opened on September 11th for the 10th anniversary.
Yes.
It was an international cause to make sure that we opened that on time, and we hit that. We worked around the clock, and we got it open. And that memorial is 2 pools of water, 30 feet deep, the 2 largest man-made pools of water on the planet, surrounded by the names of the nearly 3,200 people who died on at the first World Trade Center attack and then on 9/11. And those are in the original footprints of the Twin Towers.
Right.
So the memorial is open. Surrounding those 8 acres, another 8 acres, we are building 4 commercial office buildings, a world-class transportation hub that will bring together the PATH train system and 10 New York City subway lines. And all of that construction is going on now. Anyone who drives up the New Jersey Turnpike towards New York, you can't miss One World Trade Center, which is the building that we are building. It's now 92 stories above the earth. It is the tallest building in New York City. By the time we're done, it will be the tallest building in the Western Hemisphere at 105 stories, which our great iron workers and steel workers will be finishing up coming in early in spring of this year. So we've got a lot of construction going on down at the World Trade Center. People are seeing us bring this site back. In a few years, in 2014, when the towers, Tower 1 and Tower 4 are complete, when the hub is open, the Memorial Museum are open, this will be a place where millions of people will come to go to the memorial, which is the most important, to remember those that we lost, but also go to work at the office towers, commute through the World Trade Center. It's a sacred mission for the Port Authority. The Port Authority built the original Twin Towers. We lost 84 of our employees, including 37 Port Authority police officers, that day on September 11th. It's a sacred mission for us. And we're doing everything we can to make sure we're doing it in a way that values those that we lost, honors the memories of people who didn't get to come home that day, but also rebuild a commercial center in Lower Manhattan.
Absolutely. If you haven't yet been to the 9/11 Memorial, the North Pool, which, as Bill said, is right in the exact spot where the North Tower was, it has all of the American Flight 11 victims, the North Tower victims, and the 7 if you count the unborn child that was killed in the 1993 attack. Those are the names you'll find at the North Pool, and then the South Pool is everybody else, including those that died in Washington and Shanksville, Pennsylvania that day. The layout, expected to be completed in 2014, as you've said, is it's going to look like one of the most modern state-of-the-art facilities in the world, really. There are those, though, Donald Trump being one of them, who wanted to see the Twin Towers rebuilt exactly as they were. The 2 main buildings, 110 stories high. What would you say to folks like that who miss the old Twin Towers, but, there's obviously things to be looked forward to with, the new layout? What would you say to folks like that?
Well, the decisions of how the World Trade Center would be built and how it would look were made well before I ever got to the Port Authority. But I think the passion that people bring to how it should look really is a reflection, whether they agree with the way the design is now or prefer a different design. The passion that people have, everyday New Yorkers and New Jerseyans, but people from all over the world. They look at that site, and there's a personal to it. We all experience that. I was working in Trenton. I was a lawyer for the YMCA's, and I come out of a meeting and watched it on TV in my office. People who lived in New York, people who were in school. They all have a very personal attachment to what happened, especially those of us from New York and New Jersey who remember the Twin Towers and remember being in Lower Manhattan, remember driving up the Turnpike. My grandparents lived in New York City, so you always knew you were getting close when you saw the Twin Towers. They anchored Lower Manhattan. The passion that people have to making sure that we remember those that we lost, and rebuild that site. There's good-hearted people on all sides of the question of how it should look. And this is the process that we're building it now, is how it's going to look. It's going to be extraordinary. It's going to be a world-class facility by every measurement. But I think it's a sign that people care about what we're doing down there.
Certainly.
And when I go over to Fred and Pete's, or I stop at Golden Dawn, people stop me and ask how's things at the World Trade Center, because people here in my hometown, they know people who passed away.
Right.
You saw the hundreds and hundreds of people who came out to Hamilton's 9/11 memorial
Yes.
the day before 9/11 this past September. People care about that.
Yes, absolutely. There were a number of Mercer County residents who lost their lives on that sad day, and of course one from the Cranberry-Plainsboro area just outside our county, Todd Beamer, who was on United Flight 93, one of the men believed to have helped, bring the plane down, fight the terrorists, so to speak. That ushered in a new era of Americans fighting back against terrorism, the flight that went down in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. But I mean, among all that your job entails, here in 2012, I mean, you've been at this 2 years, you've got so many things, on your docket, if you will. How exciting is it for you to be on the forefront of this and seeing America into this, what will be a new era once this is all finished?
I'm not sure I'm going to agree with the word exciting.
Okay.
I think it's a challenge. I think it's something that those of us who get to work at the Port Authority, not only are we building a new Goethals Bridge, not only are we replacing the Bayonne Bridge, raising it, not only are we replacing the suspender ropes at the GW Bridge, building a new train station for the path at Harrison, replacing the rehabbing the Lincoln Tunnel Helix, replacing the George Washington Bridge bus station. We're doing all of that. New terminals at Kennedy, new runways at Newark. But we're also responsible to making sure the World Trade Center gets rebuilt. That is a moral and historic responsibility. No matter whatever else I do the rest of my career, when I'm done and come back here to Hamilton, I'm going to be one of the people who got to rebuild the World Trade Center. And that is a moment in history. I was a history major in college. And you look back at certain things and say, I was a part of making sure the 9/11 Memorial opened on time for our families, and we did it.
Yes.
And we are committed to making sure the World Trade Center gets opened and built in a way that values those that we lost, but also values the toll payers and taxpayers.
Absolutely. Well, thanks again for being our guest, and we wish you folks very well at everything that goes on there. Bill Baroni of Port Authority, New York, New Jersey, one of the main people helping to rebuild the World Trade Center. The expected completion date is 2014. If you have not yet been to the 9/11 Memorial, just visit online. You just need to register for it. It does not cost anything to visit the memorial, but if you do, certainly go. You will have a very opening experience and one that you'll never forget. I'm Mark Fontes. Thanks so much for being our guest on this Mercer County Close-Up. We'll see you again really soon.